is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
It is an absolutely perfect night for baseball here in the Motor City. In fact, a picture-perfect night as Ian Kinsler and the rest of the Tigers take aim at Jose Abreu and the Chicago White Sox. Game one in this three-game series between the Tigers and the Sox. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Peppa, glad to have you with us. Special weekend here at the ballpark this weekend, Negro Leagues weekend. And, of course, as we check in with my partner, Rod Allen, he was part of the passing the bat ceremony before the game today. Rod, I know this weekend is always a special one for you.
Absolutely, Mario. I met a young man today by the name of Alex Darden, who goes to North Farmington High School. He's going to Cincinnati on a scholarship. He's got a wonderful grade point average. I'll talk about him a little bit more during the course of the broadcast, but it's always wonderful to get down here on the field for the passing of the bat.
All right, well, as we turn our attention to the ballgame here tonight, how about Jordan Zimmerman? He will get the start for the Tigers. A big one for him and the team, considering he didn't go out the DL, but they need him back.
You know, I talked to Zim as far as that injury was concerned, and he said one of the things that limited the amount of time that he missed is the fact that he kind of spun off of it when he did pull that groin. He said that by spinning off of it, it limited the time that he would be down. I'm looking forward to watching him go out here today. He was their best pitcher in the month of April. He'll be going up against a very good Chicago White Sox team that's kind of struggled lately, but it's going to be good to see Zimmerman get back on the mound again here tonight, partner.
Yeah, this White Sox team, Rod, you know they got off to a great start. They have stumbled recently. Some changes in the offseason. Maybe the biggest change for them, Todd Frazier.
You know, they've been trying to solidify that third base position for a number of years since Joe Creedy left. They finally have that now in Todd Frazier. This guy's got tremendous pull power. Most of his hits are to the pull field. He's already homered quite a few times this year. He's struggling just a little bit right now. 3 for his last 24, partner, but 3 home runs. He also can play some third base. He can go to his right. He can go to his left. He plays real good baseball, and he's a real good leader. He's a real good teammate, and he's a major reason why this White Sox team has gotten off to such a really good start this year. He's the one guy, along with Abreu, that they really need to pay close attention to here tonight.
All right, I don't know if you know this. We got a ball game to play tonight, so you better get up here, buddy.
I'll be up there.
All right, stay with us after a short break. We'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Kristen Keith. Coming up, it's the first of 19 meetings between these two teams. Tigers White Sox, game one in the season series, and it's all coming up next. Detroit, as we welcome you back to Comerica Park. Game 1 in this series, the Tigers and the Chicago White Sox, and Jordan Zimmermann taking the mound for the Tigers for the first time since May the 22nd. Good to see him back on the hill, and he is presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Talked to the manager, Brad Ausmus, before the game today, and he said there would be no restrictions on Zimmermann. You talked about the fact it's been about 11 days since he's been on the hill. 7-2 overall with a 2.52 earned run average, which is outstanding. Expect some of the smaller guys on this White Sox team to maybe test that growing by bunting the baseball.
Here is the starting lineup he will face tonight for the White Sox, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And for Chicago, Adam Eaton leads it off. He'll play in right field. Tyler Saladino is the shortstop. Todd Frazier batting .370 career against the Tigers. Jose Abreu at first. Shuck is in center. Laurie is at second. And a bottom three of Rollins, Garcia, and the former Tiger, Alex Avila. Well, we mentioned it's a gorgeous night here at the ballpark tonight. The field conditions are presented by Ace Hardware and the Scott's Company, and you can't get a whole lot better than you have right now.
Last couple of days have been simply spectacular.
79 degrees at game time here tonight. And a perfect night for the Tigers and the White Sox. The first meeting of the season between these two. And the first one from Zimmermann is outside. Eaton, Saladino, and then Frazier, the top three. 1-0 pitch is fouled back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Sox leadoff man.
Adam Eaton having a solid season. Batting .273, but his on-base percentage is .357. Likes to hit the ball the opposite way, so if you're adjusted up and in left field, you could be expecting a fly ball or two today off the bat of Eaton.
Upton right now battling the sun out there in left field. He is shaded toward the line if Eaton chooses to go that way.
It is not fun to play left field this time of night here at Comerica Park.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. It's hammered foul back out of play. 2-2.
Tough out there. He's found some shade out there, hasn't he?
He's found a little sliver of shade, the shadows of the light standards out there.
Got his glasses on tonight. Didn't have his glasses on, but it was a little later start last night.
High fly ball, right field, hit pretty good. J.D. Martinez going back to the warning track to make the catch.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. Left to right in the outfield, you've got Upton, you've got Maven, you've got J.D. Martinez. Third to first, you've got Aviles getting the start there tonight. Iglesias, Kinsler up the middle, the big fella. Miguel Cabrera, he's anchored over at first. And James McCann is getting the catching duties here this evening.
Here is Tyler Saladino, the number 2 hitter, batting .270. He's got 3 home runs this year. And the first one is hit for a strike, 0-1. Tigers this year are 7-2 when Zimmermann starts. Here's a swing and a miss, 0-2.
That's one of the things that Zim does a lot of. He fills up that plate with lots of quality strikes. His fastball firm, anywhere from 90 to 94. He's got a nice breaking ball. He's got a changeup that he will use on occasion.
Way up and in. 1-2 on Saladino. That last start for Jordan was on the 22nd of May. It was a 9-4 win over Tampa. Gave up just 2 runs at 5 2/3 and had to leave in the 6th inning with that strained groin. Little chopper, left side of the infield. Gobbled up there by Iglesias. His throw is in time for the out, 2 gone.
It's nice communication there between Iglesias and also Aviles. And both were verging on the baseball. Iglesias basically called him off, and Aviles allowed him to make the play, which is an easier play for Iglesias. He says something and he just stops. It's a nice play.
Here is Todd Frazier now with 2 outs.
And the Todd father, that's his nickname. He is a dead pull hitter. Although the Tigers are not really shading him to pull in the infield.
Todd father is 3 for his last 31.
Those 3 hits are homers too.
Yeah. 0-1 the count on Frazier, who comes over from the Cincinnati Reds, and here's how they play him defensively.
Pretty much playing him straight up. If you were with us last night, we told you the Tigers are one of those teams that do not shift on the opponents all that often.
0-2 on Todd Frazier.
real good pitch right here. And it's a pitch, if you're Frazier, you got to drive this ball the opposite way. It's a slider. And it's got some nice movement to it, cutting to the outside part of the plate.
Now Frazier given time at home plate. 17 homers this year, tied for the major league lead. Checked it. Did he go? He did not. 1 ball and 2 strikes. See, White Sox team that just ran out to such a very quick start, then all of a sudden they hit the skids. They lost 7 consecutive games.
They were playing some great defense in the month of April, and they're still playing some good defense. Their bullpen was outstanding in April. Their bullpen stuff is so in May, and that's an indication of their record. They just got tired. That bullpen did.
2-2 the count. Of course, Chris Sale has been as good as anybody in the league, and he'll go tomorrow for the White Sox.
Dominant stuff.
3 balls, 2 strikes now on Todd Frazier.
I've already noticed Jordan pitching inside very aggressively to a couple of these hitters with that fastball. And that one at 93.
Swing and a miss. Frazier is out of there. First strikeout of the ball game for Zimmerman. 1-2-3 first. Out to the bottom of the first tonight here at Comerica Park. Ian Kinsler is set to get things started for the Tigers. The Tigers starting lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Kinsler, Maven, Cabrera in the top 3 spots. Victor Martinez, the DH. JD is in right. Upton is in left. And your bottom 3 tonight features Aviles, McCann, and Iglesias, who is .300 career against Chicago. They are facing the offerings of Carlos Rodon.
Rodon's got some outstanding life on his fastball. He'll go anywhere from 91 to 97. Every now and then he gets a little cutting action on that fastball, about 94. He also has a couple different breaking balls, one hard one, one a little bit softer, and a changeup that he does not use that often.
So the youngster, the left-hander Rodon, facing Kinsler, who extended his hitting streak with a pinch hit double in last night's ball game. And Ian has hit safely now in 4 consecutive games. He takes strike 1.
There were notes all over the Tigers clubhouse this afternoon indicating to the hitters today to make Rondon get the ball up in the strike zone.
Now the 0-1 pitch. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Kinsler.
I watched a little bit of Rodon's last start. One of the things that he's not afraid to do as a left-handed starter, he's not afraid to pitch inside. He will pitch inside aggressively from time to time.
Here's the 1-1. It's grounded foul just outside of the bag at third base.
Yeah, but when you pitch inside to Ian Kinsler, you're asking for trouble. His batting average is well above 400 on balls on the inside part of the plate this season. .30 RBIs on the year for Kinsler.
Here's the 1-2. A little bit outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's already scored 44 runs, partner. It looks like he's going to get to 100 this season, no problem, barring any injuries.
Yeah, he is second right now in the American League in runs scored. So that plateau should be attainable again. That's foul back. Look out. He lost the bat.
Yeah, this particular count, after throwing all fastballs, Rondon is one of those guys that has a tremendous slider. And when he throws the slider just right, it ends up at the back foot of the right-handed batter. It is very tough to pick up, and most of the times when he does throw that particular slider, he gets a swing and a miss.
2-2 on the Tigers leadoff man. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Take a look at the Chicago White Sox starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. In the outfield, they have Garcia, they have Shuck, they have Eaton, they have Saladino and Laurie up the middle. Frazier at third, Abreu at first, and Alex Avila, the former Tiger, is behind the dish. And it's a good defensive team. They've only committed 23 errors this year, the fewest in the American League.
There's your good buddy Alex Avila. Has to feel a little bit strange for him to come back to the ballpark.
Alex had a lot of visitors today in that visiting clubhouse. I strolled through there to say hello to him. And then shortly after that, it was Mr. Tiger, Mr. K-Line, Willie Horton, popular player here in Detroit, and a good kid.
Here's the 0-1 to Maben. Fouled back out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Not to mention, before the ball game today, former teammates as well visiting, and coaches and everybody associated with the Tigers.
And the White Sox have been here for a couple of days. They last played an afternoon game on Wednesday in New York. So, you know, Alex probably had a chance to go out to dinner with his dad as well.
Well, Avila had a special bond with a lot of the fans as well, and he took some time to take some pictures before the game. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Maben is down on strikes. 2 gone.
Here's that slider. He also got Ian Kinsler on the slider, but Kinsler's slider was up. This is a little bit harder breaking ball that's down toward that back foot of Maben, the one that we talked about. Comes off his fingertips very nicely.
Rodon is only 23 years old. He hails from Miami, Florida. 6'3", 235. Really didn't spend a whole lot of time in the minor leagues. In fact, he appeared in just I don't know, about 1 season's worth of game, about 30 starts worth of games. There's a ball outside to Miguel Cabrera.
He holds the record for strikeouts at North Carolina State University. 436 of those his junior year.
Wolfpack.
Yep.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
He's always been a guy that's had tremendous stuff. I just gave you his numbers in college. He was outstanding there, and he's been good in the minors. He's been good in the big leagues, but the one thing that he does lack is really good command, but he really hasn't been up in the big leagues that long. He's pretty much learning on the fly.
Well, he's on a staff right now that has been pretty good at times this year. You talk about Quintana, who's had a nice year. Chris Sale, of course, has been dominant this season. Rodon, one of the younger members of the pitching staff for the White Sox. 2-1 is outside. 3 balls and 1 strike.
It's a changeup there. And talking to Don Cooper, their pitching coach, before the game today, he told me that he would like to see a few more changeups today from Rodon, excuse me.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. And he missed it. It'll be ball 4 to Cabrera. 2-out walk. There is Don Cooper, the longtime pitching coach, sitting next to Robin Ventura.
Don Cooper has lasted through about 4 different managers in Chicago, and that's not the norm. Usually when a new manager comes in, he brings his new guy in, but Jerry Reinsdorf, who is the owner of the Chicago White Sox, and a very good owner, absolutely loves the work that Cooper's done over the years.
He has provided a measure of stability, that's for sure. Here's Victor Martinez. Vic last night was 0 for 4, batting .337. And Martinez looks at a strike on the inside part of the plate, and you can tell Victor doesn't quite agree with that call from John Tumpane.
I think it was more of the way that Alex caught the ball, which caused the disagreement there from Victor.
His gloves seem to be taking it out of the strike zone.
Yeah, there's that natural cut fastball that he will throw every now and then. He throws a sinker, but every now and then the ball will cut, and just by how it comes out of his hand.
0-2 on Martinez. Tigers this year have really, by and large, struggled against left-handed pitching. Just 3-8 this year against lefties, which is, I don't know, somewhat confounding when you consider it's a right-handed heavy lineup.
I know, right?
It doesn't seem to make sense. 0-2. Pulled on the ground off the bag at third base. That's a fair ball. Down the corner it goes. Miggy is on his way to third. He'll stop there, and that's going to be a double for Victor Martinez.
It's another breaking ball that Victor made him get the ball on, and luckily for Victor, that ball hit the bag because it looked like Frazier was in position to backhand that ball. It's just really nice hand-eye coordination for Victor, who continues to get it done when he's behind in the count.
Tigers last night left 8 men on base. It would be nice if they can come up with a clutch 2-out hit here in the first inning tonight. Martinez back in the 5 slot for the ball game this evening with Castellanos sitting out. Way outside as Avila leaves the crouch to go get it.
Avila wanted this pitch inside. He sets up inside, and look at him have to reach back 6 feet basically to try to catch this baseball.
Martinez 1 for 5 in last night's game. He'll take a strike. 1-1.
I would expect that Rodon would pitch very carefully here to J.D. Martinez, especially with Justin Upton in the on-deck circle, and Justin struggling this year. There's the base open. Really no need in giving J.D. Martinez anything really too good to hit. If he wants to hit your pitch, then let him do so, but I expect him to kind of pitch very carefully here to J.D.
Last season, Martinez hit 4 home runs against White Sox pitching. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss, and again Avila had to leave the crouch.
And JD also left the strike zone, swinging at that 2-seam fastball that just ran on the outside part of the plate. That's the one thing that Rodon will do on occasion. He will not rest comfortably over the rubber. And when he brings that front foot up, every now and then he rushes out of his delivery instead of resting very comfortably on that rubber with that left leg, which would allow him to catch up and throw downhill and throw more strikes.
Rodon was a first-round pick of the White Sox just a couple of years ago, 2014, as Rod mentioned, out of North Carolina State. But he was one of those guys that did not spend very much time in the minor leagues, and now still basically learning at this level.
A similar story to tomorrow's start. Chris Sale, he didn't spend a lot of time in the minor leagues either before he came to the big leagues.
Fouled straight back. I think when Sale got to the big leagues, they used him initially out of the pen, didn't they?
Correct.
Not anymore.
No, he's one of the best left-handed starters in our sport now.
Two on, 2 out. We're in the first, no score. This is the first of 3 over the weekend between these two clubs.
And Tigers making him work here in the first inning, already up to 23 pitches.
And again, the 1-2. He got rid of another one, sent it back into the seats out of play. Well, JD continues to battle here against Rodon. And the 25th pitch of this inning is forthcoming with Upton waiting on deck. Avila blocks it. Now the count levels at 2-2. 16 strikes out of the 25 he has thrown in this game. Rodon struck out the first 2 batters and then walked Cabrera, and that was followed by a double from Victor Martinez. Two balls and 2 strikes on JD. And again, low and in. Run the count full, 3-2. Well, he's giving Avila a workout behind the dish. White Sox came in at 29-25. They've won their last 2 after losing 7 straight.
They won a game on Wednesday afternoon in New York, partner, and they walked 13 batters and won.
I saw that.
13.
I mean, that never happens. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Rodon strikes out the side. Tigers strand 2. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise our expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. And by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. Hey, Ron, there's your ride.
I'd love to be on that water about right now.
Pretty nice. No score as we go to the top of the second.
It's a beautiful day for it.
It'll be Jose Abreu to lead it off against Jordan Zimmerman, who had a 1-2-3 first. Abreu looks at ball 1 to get things started here in the second.
The Tigers handled him pretty well last year. Abreu hit just 200 last season against Tigers pitching with 21 strikeouts in 17 games. That was after that rookie campaign, partner. We torched Tigers pitching.
Well, they're going to get him here on a slow roller to second, so 1 gone in the second. 4-3 put out. That'll bring up J.B. Shuck. Well, if you can handle Abreu in their lineup, I mean, that's a big piece in the middle of their lineup.
He hits 30 a year, drives in 100. Did that in back-to-back seasons.
Here is Shuck standing in from the left side against Zimmerman. Shuck 2 out of 16 so far this year, and he'll look at a strike.
I don't know what this ball hit, but Kinzer going over to make the play with the glove, and the ball hits something, and he has to use the hand to corral it and then take it to the glove before getting the out at first. That's why that play was so close.
Oh, 0-2 on Shuck. Ground ball, fair ball inside the bag at third. They had him shifted to the right side, and Shuck goes the other way for a 1-out single. It'll be the first Chicago hit. Shuck will smile about it, but he came in at 2 for 16, so he'll take it.
Looked like he was a little tardy on the four-seam fastball upstairs. I don't think Zim got the ball exactly where he wanted it. Did not get it high enough there for Shuck. Able to slice it right past Aviles down that third base line.
Here's another piece of that offseason makeover for the White Sox. Brett Lawrie stands in.
Former Toronto Blue Jay, former Oakland Athletic.
Lawrie pounds the first one back out of play. 0-1. It's been relatively hot, 320 over his last 6 games. And a very colorful elbow protector there.
That right arm is kind of colorful too.
Yes, it is. He's got some ink.
Yes, he does.
The mouth guard is awfully interesting as well.
They call those sleeves, I think, buddy.
Yeah, the one in the right arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike. How about the mouth guard, though?
He's got it all going.
Yeah. Now Lawrie will step out. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 on, 1 out in the second. Lawrie spent 4 years as a member of the Blue Jay. He is a Canadian, was born in British Columbia. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike on Brett Lawrie. Swing and a miss. Level the count now at 2-2. Lawrie was traded to the White Sox from the A's in December. Now Zim ready with the 2-2 pitch. Here it is. Right back up the middle. Kinsler can't get it into center field. A base hit. So back-to-back singles now for the White Sox. Sharply hit ball right through the box.
Another fastball, top of the strike zone. This one at 91 miles an hour. 4-seam variety. Ends up right over the heart of the plate. McCann initially was set up on the outside corner. After missing about 11 days, you wouldn't expect Zimmerman to have his great command out here this evening, at least at the early goings of this game.
So with 2 on now, here is Jimmy Rollins, the veteran infielder who is serving as the DH in this game. Rollins, a longtime National Leaguer with the Philadelphia Phillies.
He has seen Jordan Zimmerman quite a bit.
Ball's popped up. Right side, foul ground. Kinsler, and it's going to be in to make the catch. Runners will hold. So Rollins is dispatched. 2 gone. Bring up Avisail Garcia, another former Tiger. Garcia batting in the 8th spot in this one. It's out in left field. Of course, Garcia played right field with the Tigers and much of the early part of his career with the White Sox as well.
Now they have Eaton playing right field on most nights, and Austin Jackson is their everyday center fielder, but Austin Jackson has a turf toe right now, so he is not in the starting lineup.
There's a strike called on Avi Garcia.
I was talking to the first base coach before the game today, Darryl Boston, who handles the outfielders, and I was asking him, was Jackson a better center fielder than Eaton? Because Eaton is an outstanding center fielder.
Sure is.
And he said Austin Jackson is a little bit better center fielder than Eaton, and Eaton has been tremendous in right field.
Now they go 1. Garcia hammers one to center field, sinking, base hit. He'll try and get a run in. Throw back to second is not in time, and a run will score. J.B. Shuck comes in, and the White Sox have the lead on the Garcia RBI single.
All 3 hits in this inning have come on the four-seam fastball. Here's another one. This one's located outside, but a real good swing by Garcia to drive it up the middle and drive in the first run of the contest.
Third hit in the inning for Chicago, and Alex Avila gets a nice warm welcome as he stands into the box. Avila batting .209 on the year. He's up there with 2 on and 2 out. And time call now as Zimmerman asks for McCann to come out to the mound. It's a pretty snappy first inning for Zim. He had a 1-2-3 first. But back-to-back hits here in the second and a 2-out RBI single by Garcia. How about last night's game? The Tigers make a valiant comeback against a really good back end of the Yankees pen and just fell short. As Avila looks at a strike, and it was a ball game last night that had to be frustrating for Brad Ausmus because that ball that J.D. Martinez hit looked like it was going to the center field.
No question about that, but give Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, a lot of credit. I mean, he had just put Didi Gregorius in at shortstop, who's their everyday shortstop. And Gregorius made 2 tremendous plays on the rundown play down the left field line to get up to that home plate, and then the play to start the double play. So he was the difference in the game.
Bouncing ball to second right at Kinsler, and that will end the inning. But the White Sox take the lead on the RBI hit by Garcia. The Tigers face these White Sox at 4:10 p.m. The 22nd annual Negro League tribute game will be played. The first 10,000 fans receive a Negro League tribute game hat. Visit Tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. And Rod, you had a chance to be part of the passing of the bat today, which is always a neat ceremony here.
It really is, because what they do is they find someone in the community. In this case, it was Alex Darden of North Farmington High School, the young man that is getting a hug there from Cameron Maven. Man, he's 6'4", a left-handed pitcher, man. He's got a scholarship to go to Cincinnati.
Nice.
And not only that, nearly a 4.0 grade point average. So real nice job done by Alex Darden.
Not too many guys tower over you, but he looked like a big boy.
He's a big boy. He looks the part, man. He says his fastball is right around 87, 88. But see, those are those kind of kids, Mario, where the scouts, they project.
That's deep to the outfield grass. One hop throw, not in time. Infield hit.
With his body at 6'4", they only think he's going to fill out a little bit more. And scouts, if they draft somebody like that, Alex Garden, at 6'4" with that kind of leverage, they feel like sooner or later, once he grows into his body and gets stronger, that fastball will be 93, 94, 95.
And that would be impressive from the left side. Well, here's Mike Aviles now. The Tigers have an infield single for Justin Upton.
And Castellanos getting the night off. He struggled a little bit last night, but Brad also said that Aviles had a nice night. He had a couple of knocks in last night's contest, so giving him another opportunity to play this evening.
Aviles showing bunt, pushed it foul behind home plate. When you look at his at-bats last night, I mean, he had a couple of really, really good ones and big ones for the Tigers. He had the double against Betances in the 7th.
And then he had a 100-mile-per-hour fastball against Chapman.
Yeah, that got things rolling in the 9th inning.
I guess if you get a couple of hits off those guys, you deserve to play the next day.
No doubt. And a good night to give Castellanos off. 0-1 on Aviles. There's a ground ball to second. That should be 2. It's bobbled. They'll get 1 and still get the double play.
That's a really nice recovery there by Brett Laurie, the second baseman. I mean, he booted this routine double play ball, and he made it very difficult for himself. Once he bobbled it, he dropped it, he went to pick it up, and then he just tagged the bag himself and then finished the double play. See, back in the old days, he would never have been able to complete that double play because Upton, 2 years ago or even last year, would have been able to upend him and take him out. But nowadays, the base runners, they don't go into second base all that aggressive.
That's a good point. I mean, you better make a beeline straight for that bag.
I mean, he was right on top of him. He could have really taken him out.
McCann looks at ball 1.
But now you got the guys when they're on first base, they don't even run that hard to second base in double play situations because they're a little leery of the contact. Now watch Upton here and how close he is to Laurie here when he decides to touch that ball, the bag with the right foot. He could have just kept going and really got him.
Not to mention he could have slid a little bit to outside of the bag, maybe a foot or 2 right into the defender.
Obviously, that's one part of our game that's changed.
Here's the 2-0 to McCann. High, towering fly ball hit pretty well to left field.
Did you?
Track, wall, and that ball is out of here. It's gone. James McCann has tied the game with a 2-out solo shot. His 2nd of the year. I was not sure that ball was going to carry out, but it did.
Rodon will challenge you with a lot of fastballs, and he decides to challenge McCann here with a fastball on an 0-2 count, and he was sitting there waiting for it, lifting and separating and finding the White Sox bullpen for a solo shot. That thing was hit high.
That's why I didn't think it would get out.
He could have caught that ball if he would just kept running and jumped once he got to the fence.
There's a strike in the outer edge to Iglesias.
McCann's glad he didn't. Did you see how close that ball was?
Yeah, it went 392, and it had gone 391. It would have been an out. That's how close it was.
Get out.
And that ball will hit the gap and drop. Iglesias going for 2. And he is in there with a double.
Take a look at Garcia in left field, how he plays this ball. If he runs directly to the wall, he's got a chance at catching it, but he slowed down, and that ball just got over.
Now the Tigers have a chance to take the lead after the Iglesias double. Rodon got the big double play, but then McCann homers, Iglesias doubles, and here is Kinsler. Ball 1 missing outside.
First pitch changeup there thrown by Rodon. Now, if you're Kinsler, you're sitting on that piece of cheese. It'll be anywhere from 92 to 95. If he throws you that slider and he throws a good one, you just have to take it.
Strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. I was asking Ian before the game today, would you rather have faced a guy like Andrew Miller, who we got the double against last night, or Chapman, who throws 100 miles an hour? Who would you rather face? And he goes, well, all things being equal, I'll take the guy that throws 100 because Miller's movement was awfully good.
It sure was.
Got under that one and fouled it down the left field line.
At one point in time in last night's game, Andrew Miller had thrown 22 pitches, 11 strikes, 11 balls, and he wasn't missing by a whole lot. The ball just had such tremendous life on it.
I guess the point that Ian was making was, yes, Chapman throws 100 miles an hour, but
it's straight.
It's fairly straight. And big league guys, you know,
they can hit a bullet.
Right. Eventually they'll catch up to it, but when you have as much movement as Andrew Miller, it becomes awfully difficult. Here's the 1-2. Drill to center field. That ball is going to get down, base hit, and score the run. Tigers will take the lead as Kinsler drives in a run. 3 straight 2-out hits.
Some really good at-bats in this inning against Rodon. That's a slider that's just spinning up there. That's not his best slider. He tried to throw that one in the back door. And Ian Kinsler stayed with it, hit it right back up the middle.
'31st RBI of the year gives the Tigers and Zimmerman a 2-1 lead. Here's Cameron Maben. Runner goes. Little chopper hit to the shortstop. Saladino charging. That'll end the inning. What a good inning for the Tigers. They get a pair of runs and take the lead.
Making his first start in about 11-12 days. He had a really nice first inning, a little soft contact, pop-up, ground out, strikeout. But then the second inning, he threw some four-seam fastballs that were right over the heart of the plate, and Shuck, and then you have Laurie, and then you have Garcia, all singling sharply right back up the middle or the opposite way to plate the first run of the game, which was the top half of the second inning. So his command was a little off in the second inning.
He will, however, pitch with the lead now as we go to the top of the third, and drops in a breaking ball strike on Adam Eaton.
And very aggressive first pitch swing team are the White Sox. Therefore, a real nice curveball thrown in there beautifully by Zimmerman.
The 0-1 is chopped to the right side. Kinsler has it on a hop, and Eaton is out. One gone in third. By the way, stay tuned for Tigers Live following the game. We'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game. Presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites. Now being served all day. Tyler Saladino steps in. On the inside corner, strike one. Saladino bounced out to the shortstop Iglesias in the first. In there, a strike on the outer edge. 0-2 on Saladino. Zimmerman allowed 2 singles, and then with 2 outs, another base hit. Javi Garcia singled in a run in the second. Way high, 1-2. Jordan, before this start here, had made 2 starts career against the White Sox and had a lot of success. 1-0 with a 1.29 ERA. That'll be a souvenir. Nice catch.
Played that hop nicely.
Yeah.
Take a bow. High fives. That's a festive group over there, buddy.
They're into it, aren't they?
They must have been doing a few of them 12-ounce curls before this one. And cheating from ear to ear down there.
It's a festive group. The 1-2 is just off the plate. 2-2 Saladino.
Yeah, but if you can't have fun at the ballpark, where can you have fun?
Nowhere. Good crowd on hand here tonight. Here's the 2-2. Lifted back out of play. Saladino spent 6 years in the minors before he got his first big league call up last year.
Splitting time these days with the veteran. And Jimmy Rollins at the shortstop position. The last week or so, Saladino's gotten the majority of the reps because his bat is perked up.
That is popped up first base side. Cabrera will have room. And there are 2 gone. Time for a game break now with Mickey York. All right, Mick, those Blue Jays will be coming to town for a 3-game series after the White Sox leave. There's Todd Frazier with 2 outs.
Good pitch.
Another ground ball hit to short, and right there is Iglesias. It'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Jordan Zimmerman. Nicely done. Going to the bottom of the 3rd. White Sox 2-1 is our score as we go to the bottom of the third. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. They're providing our special shots here this evening in the Motor City and surrounding areas. Well, the Tigers now send Cabrera, Martinez, and Martinez to the plate here in the third, facing Carlos Rodon. Tigers got a couple of runs in the second to grab the lead. There's a drive to right, slicing foul. 1-1 on Cabrera, who got it started in the first with a 2-out walk. Tigers threatened but did not score in that frame.
That's a little bitty bad boy down there today. Little fella down there.
Dude, yeah,
he is.
Must have skills, though.
He has to have skills.
Swing and a miss. 0-2.
He's 16 years old, too. Check him out.
Come on, hit it back to me. Let's go.
That's beautiful. You don't think he's having fun? He's ready to make a play.
Oh, man. What a time he must be having right now. As Cabrera is caught looking. I mean, you're on a big league field. You got a uniform on. You got a glove on.
Talking to the peeps.
You know what? I think I walked in with that young man today.
Good for him.
Yeah, he was. In fact, he held the door open for me.
Gentleman, too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a big glove. Victor Martinez stands in. And it brings us the Bernstein advantage pitcher-batter matchup. If you look at Victor against the White Sox career, pretty good.
Ooh, contact to damage ratio is simply off the chain for V-Mark.
Martinez had a double in the first inning, hit it right down the third base line off the bag. Two balls, no strikes. Martinez had a big road trip. Victor batted .391 in the West Coast swing. Here's the 2-0. Now 3-0.
It looks like he's kind of picking the people that he wants to pitch to. First time through the order, he didn't want to pitch to Miguel Cabrera. And this time it looks like he doesn't really want to mess with Victor Martinez.
Rodon last year 139 strikeouts, second most ever by a White Sox rookie. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Fly ball right field. That ball's hit pretty good. Eaton going back to the wall. He looks up and it's gone. A home run. Opposite field, long ball for Victor Martinez.
Victor Martinez does not hit many home runs the opposite way, but in the previous 4 pitches from Rodon, everything was away, and Victor is such a smart hitter. He looked out there, got the pitch that he needed, and drove it out to right. It's a 4-seam fastball that he wants outside, but look at Victor go out there and get it and drive it the other way. Talking about hitting a ball where it's pitched.
A couple of rows deep over the wall in right field. The Tigers now have a 3-1 lead. And JD looks at ball 1. He checked it, but he went. I think it's strike 1.
And those numbers we just posted for you on Victor against the White Sox have just gone up a tick.
Yeah, homer and a double tonight for Martinez. The 0-1 pitch. JD swings and misses 0-2.
And JD not able to stay back on the off-speed offerings so far tonight by Rodon. And first pitch breaking ball that he swung right over the top of. And then that changeup faded nicely away from JD, and he missed that one too.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Flag down by Saladino, who throws him out. 2 gone in the Tigers' third. Well, if you're a baseball fan, then you need the all-new Fox Sports app. Get highlights, interviews, injury updates, scores, and instant alerts on your favorite teams and rivals. Download now in the iOS App Store, Google Play, or visit foxsports.com/app. What a spectacular view high above Comerica Park. Yet another wonderful evening for baseball. Justin Upton takes way outside, 1-0. Upton had an infield single in the second, but later he raced on a double play. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 on Justin Upton. Justin, not really a whole lot of at-bats against the White Sox because of the time he spent in the National League, but he came in batting .455 career against Chicago pitching. Big rip there, 2-1. Rodon has allowed 2 homers in this game. Solo shot to McCann, and now a solo homer to Victor Martinez. The 2-1. We're talking about the Tigers taking on the Blue Jays next. This is a pretty big stretch for the Tigers because they've got Toronto next, and they go to New York, Chicago, and KC, and then back home to Seattle. So some really good baseball teams.
Yes, indeed.
Here's the 2-2. Driven high in the air to left field. That ball is hit well. Garcia going back to the wall to make the catch. Just not enough for Justin Upton. However, Victor Martinez got all of his. An opposite field home run, and it's 3-1.
In last night's game that we talked about, Joe Girardi put Didi Gregorius in the game at shortstop late in the 8th inning. And take a look at Gregorius after he gets the cutoff here from Gardner. He throws a clothesline to the plate just to get upped in by his shade. Castro, who started the game at shortstop, doesn't make that play. And Castro does not make this play either from the shortstop position, although he did an outstanding job at the second base position, turning it over. Did you see Castro blowing a bubble as he turned that ball over?
I did, man. It's just another casual day at the office, I guess, for Castro.
So, I mean, last night's game, that just gives you an idea of just how important defense is at this level.
And they turned in 2 really good defensive plays. Otherwise, the Tigers win that game against a really good bullpen.
Castro's arm is not as short as Gregorius, so that means that Upton would have been safe. And then that ball gets up the middle because Castro doesn't have the same range as Gregorius. It would have been a different game last night.
Abreu leads it off. 3-1 Tigers have the lead. A strike called on Jose Abreu. 1-2 the count. He'll be followed by J.B. Shuck and then Brett Laurie. Jordan Zimmerman, a 1-2-3 third. Goes back to work now here in the fourth. There's a ground ball base hit the other way for Abreu. Leadoff man on. Fourth hit of the game now for Chicago. Here's J.B. Shuck. Shuck was called up from AAA on May 30th and was hitting .299 for their AAA team. A little bit outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Zimmerman got off to that spectacular start this year. Was the American League Pitcher of the Month. Back for the month of April, was 5-0 with an ERA of 0.55. Right back up the middle off of the pitcher. Smothered by Iglesias to second one, and that's all they get. Nice play by Iggy to play the carom.
Know where that got him at, but obviously it got him somewhere because it redirected the ball back to Iglesias, who made a nice play.
It's a 1-6-4 put out there. Shuck is aboard on the fielder's choice.
They got him on the back of the right calf.
Yep. So now Laurie with 1 on, 1 out.
Oh, Laurie.
Laurie had a single in the second and then eventually scored, or his single helped to score J.B. Shuck. That's how the Sox have gotten their only run so far. He looks at a ball inside, 1-0.
Oh, man, find a gap.
Laurie last year with the Athletics hit 16 homers, batted .260 with the A's.
He was in the Josh Donaldson deal the previous season, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
What a great deal that has turned out to be for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, yeah, he was the MVP last year.
And he's playing like another MVP.
Want to know the count on Laurie? Hammered down the left field line, and it is a foul ball.
And Jordan's got to make a better pitch. He's got to keep the ball to the bottom of the strike zone. He's looking for a ground ball here to get the double play to get out of the inning. You're not going to get a ground ball up there.
Right there, man.
And Laurie is just a dead pull hitter. And because he's a dead pull hitter, he got out in front of that, and which was a mistake pitch. He couldn't keep fair.
He got away with one there big time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good pickup by McCann. 2-1 on Laurie.
That's better location. He might want to throw over one time. Robin Ventura, he might just put Shuck on the move to stay out of the double play.
Laurie's been a guy that's been on the disabled list a lot. In fact, last year was the first time in 5 seasons he did not end up on the DL. 2-1 pitch is hammered out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Laurie.
He plays the game so aggressive, and sometimes you could be too aggressive on the baseball field, and I think that's kind of what has landed him on the disabled list from time to time. He just plays the game 100 miles an hour and always has.
Now he's waiting on a 2-2. Chopper left side, cut off by Aviles to second one. Relay out of time. Laurie is aboard on the fielder's choice. 2 outs. That'll bring up Jimmy Rollins. Zimmerman has gotten a couple of ground balls. Now we'll see what he can do against Rollins here. He popped up and is only at bat 0 for 1.
I scouted Jimmy Rollins back in high school. I know I've told you this story, but I went up to Northern California where he was going to school the one year that I was scouting with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I watched this young man play a game. And then I went back with the area scout a little bit later on when he got closer to the draft day, and we worked him out. And he was a switch hitter. And Mario, he is always obviously not been a big fella, but you could never tell the way that he played the game in high school, and then obviously once he got into pro ball, this guy plays much bigger than the way that he looks. And I was very impressed when I saw him. It was back in 1996.
Rollins listed at 5'7".
Plays much bigger. He's won an MVP.
So when you're scouting a guy like this and you see a kid that's 5'7", what are some of the things you look for?
Well, I had already heard that he had tremendous speed. He was playing shortstop for his high school.
Here's the 0-1.
And the one thing that I found when I was doing some scouting, when you really go watch kids like Rollins, kids that were drafted very high, he ended up being a second-round draft choice of the Philadelphia Phillies. The opposing high school teams don't necessarily let them play, so you really have to hone in on their skills while they're taking batting practice, while they're taking infield practice. You have to watch their arms because a lot of times you can't see their skills once the game starts.
MVP award. He's stolen 470 bases in his career, but he's going to go down swinging there. And that'll be it for the White Sox here in the 4th. Go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and this Sunday the Tigers take on these White Sox at 1:10 p.m. Come early for a special on-field salute to 1984 World Series champion Chet Lemon. For tickets, visit tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. Here come the Tigers now facing Carlos Rodon as we go to the bottom of the 4th. It's the bottom of the order coming up. 7, 8, 9. Mike Aviles leads it off. Aviles, McCann, and Iglesias against the White Sox lefty. Rodon nips the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Aviles knocked into a double play in his first at bat. That'll miss low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Always amazes me how guys that are utility players, whether it's Romine or Aviles, can find ways to try and stay sharp, because they certainly can't do it in games. They just don't get enough starts to stay sharp offensively, which I guess is where all the cage work comes in.
It's tough enough to produce as an everyday player, let alone a guy that gets 1 or 2 reps a week, maybe 5-6 chances a month. You have to do all your running. You have to do all your batting in the cages. You have to take all the ground balls and outfields and outfield plays, in this case with the Aviles and Romine. So it's not an easy thing to do, but that's why these guys are in the big leagues, because they have a knack for doing it.
He has run the count in his favor, 3-2. And a ground ball toward third, foul. Aviles began his career with the Kansas City Royals and spent some time with the Red Sox as well. And the Cleveland Indians joined the Tigers this year. Now Aviles will step out. Chopper back to the mound. Rodon makes the play, and Aviles is out, 1 gone. Here is the Magic Moonshot presented by Magic Window, and we don't have to go that far back, just the 2nd inning. And how about this one, Rod? It carried out.
James McCann got the Tigers on the board first in the 2nd after 2 were out.
2nd home run of the year. Both of them have come here at Comerica Park. The first one was against the Rays. McCann's still trying to find some traction offensively and get that batting average up. It's up to 160 right now. The ankle injury really kind of stalled the beginning of his year. That's in for a strike, 0-1. In fact, it was last season that McCann had one of his more dramatic home runs, a walk-off home run against Chicago. The 0-1 pitch.
One of the things McCann talked about a lot last year, after he pretty much took over as the everyday catcher, just how much Alex Avila helped him just kind of learn what to do in scouting reports and everything that it took to really be a good big league catcher. He said he learned a lot from Avila.
Yeah, it's a good point, because Alex always was so well prepared, and the same can be said for McCann. We had a shot of him a little bit earlier in the dugout taking notes in his journal. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Another strikeout for Rodon. 2 gone here in the 4th.
That's a pretty nice piece of cheese there thrown by Rodon at 95 miles an hour, right past James McCann. He's thrown a lot of 4-seam fastballs here today.
5 strikeouts now for Carlos Rodon, and here is Iglesias. 2-base hit back in the 2nd. Strike 1 in the outside corner.
As a matter of fact, 63% of the pitches he has thrown so far today, of the 69, have been fastballs.
Shallow right field, but it's going to be playable by Anaheim, and that's going to be a 1-2-3 4th inning. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. Back here in downtown Detroit on a spectacular night for baseball. Tigers with a 3-1 lead in Game 1 in this series over the White Sox. Tigers had 3 runs, 6 hits. And Jordan Zimmerman goes back to work here in the 5th inning. It'll be Avisail Garcia, then Alex Avila, and Adam Eaton. Bender missing up and in. 1 ball to no strikes on Garcia, who delivered an RBI single back in the 2nd. .248 batting average on the year. He's knocked in 19. Swing and a miss there by Garcia. 1-1.
It's an outstanding location with that slider. Looks like a fastball coming out of the hand. It's about the last 5 feet. And look at this ball just kind of go to the outside corner.
Little chopper back up the middle. Iglesias to his left. Garcia can run. He's nipped at the wire. 1 gone. Time to check in now with Johnny
really
Kane.
Run for a big guy.
All right, thanks, Mario. You know, I had a chance to talk with Alex Avila when he got to the ballpark today. He said it was the very first time in his life he had ever been in the visitors clubhouse. Even when he was a little kid with his dad, all the years spent here, he had never been in the visitors clubhouse. Said he enjoyed his time certainly here with the Tigers, but is embracing his role as the catcher for the Chicago White Sox. He has been in touch with Ian Kinsler and JV. In fact, Kinsler's staying at Avila's house, and Avila said he had to swing by to pick up a baby crib for one of his kids. While Kinsler was there, he was just checking up on things, making sure everything was still in order. So they still keep in touch pretty well.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Johnny. I tell you what, you know, these bonds never break. And, of course, Alex had the house here. And so why not let one of his former teammates use it?
Yes, indeed.
You know, it's got to be a pretty nice pad. And Kinsler an opportunity to use it. Avila bounced out in his only at bat. They play the shift on against him. And he goes the other way foul, 0-2.
Yeah, the shift is nothing new for Avila. In the last couple of years, he wore a Tigers uniform. The opponent shifted on him with regularity.
Jordan Zimmerman has scattered 6 hits. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Missed it low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We've known Alex obviously is an outstanding defensive catcher. His catcher's ERA this year is 2.91, which means that when he catches ball games, opponents, or his own pitcher, I should say, has an ERA of 2.91, so that's pretty good.
Tigers pitchers really enjoyed throwing to Alex as well while he was here.
Now the 1-2, and it missed inside. Of course, Alex in his youth was a third baseman. He got to Alabama and then started catching there. Here's one of the guys that he caught quite a bit, Justin Verlander.
Alex said that his college coach let him call his own pitches when he was in college, and he said that really helped him elevate his game once he got into pro ball, because most college catchers, the game is called by the head coach. James McCann also told me that in his days at Arkansas, he did not get a chance to call his pitches his freshman year, but his sophomore year he was able to do so.
Rolled foul. 3-2. The count stays on Avila.
College coaches just really take over the entire game, and it's hard for these guys like an Avila or a McCann if they have the college coach calling the pitches for 3 straight years. Then all of a sudden you get into pro ball and you don't know what to do.
McCann flashing the signs. The 3-2 is fouled off.
Yeah, be careful with that fastball down. And that's in the happy zone of Avila. Down and in.
Adam Eaton will be next. White Sox grabbed a 1-0 lead in the 2nd, gave it up when the Tigers got 2 in the 2nd, and then 1 more in the 3rd. The Tigers tonight with 2 home runs. And again, the 3-2. He got him. Strike 3. 2 gone.
He threw Avila fastball after fastball after fastball, and then finally on the 8th pitch, he dropped a breaking ball in there very nicely. It's a nice curveball there.
Two down for Adam Eaton. Ground out fly out for Eaton, and he takes ball 1. That's in there for a strike. 1-1 on the leadoff man. Eaton came in batting just a .132 over his last 10, so he's had trouble getting on base. And Jordan stays away again. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and 2.
Another really nice curveball. He's got a real nice feel for that curveball here tonight.
The White Sox in the month of April were 17-8, but in the month of May they were 11-17. Their fortunes turned last month. It's a high fly ball left center field. Maben is on the move. He's under it. And Zimmerman with another 1-2-3 inning as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Money and Coucher, and when you look at the Tigers lineup this year, they've got a lot of pop out of the top of that lineup.
Yeah, Kinsler with 11 home runs this year. Miguel has 12, and JD Martinez, who has spent a lot of time in that 2 slot, he has 11 home runs as well.
What's up, Mickey? He knows where the camera is at all times.
Man, is he fun to watch.
Here's Kinsler to get it started, and Ian fouls it back out of play. 0-1. Kinsler, Maben, and then Cabrera in the 5th inning. Tigers holding on to their 3-1 lead against Carlos Rodon and the White Sox. Ian, RBI single back in the 2nd. Here's the 0-1. We're talking about that pinch hit double he had in the ball game last night. I did not realize that was his first ever pinch hit. There's a high fly ball to left field, playable. Garcia is under it, and that is out number 1. Hey, this Sunday the Tigers host the Chicago White Sox at 1:10 p.m. It's Sunday Kids Day, and all kids 14 and under receive a free Cameron Maven poster. For tickets, visit tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. One out here in the 5th. Maven has a ground out and a strikeout, 0 for 2. Cameron, despite struggling a bit of late, is still hitting 400, which ought to give you an idea of the type of start he got off to.
What, in his first 9 games when he had 18 hits?
Yeah, it was amazing. The first homestand that he was activated from the DL on, and he was just going off.
And 17 of the 18 hits were singles.
Here's the 0-1. Little pop up, shallow center field. Shuck will come in to make the play. 2 gone. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here is Miguel Cabrera with 2 outs. Miggy a walk and a strikeout. Ball 1 high. 2 out of 5 in the ball game last night. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled back out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike on Miguel Cabrera. Popped up. Who wants it? Avila is under it to make the play, and it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Rodon. 5 in the books. It's Comerica. T-Mobile's greater coverage of baseball. Zach Greinke had a night last night. He had 11 strikeouts against the Astros, and he becomes the 4th player since 1900 to strike out 11 or more batters in a game for 5 different teams.
Randy Johnson, A.J. Burnett, and Javier Vasquez, the other 3.
KC, Milwaukee, Angels, Dodgers, Arizona, the 5 teams that Greinke has done it for.
Good to see Greinke pitching a little bit better, because the Arizona Diamondbacks, man, they had high hopes in the offseason when they were able to land him as a free agent.
Well, the Tigers are leading Chicago tonight as we go to the 6th inning. Saladino leads it off and looks at ball 1. Saladino tonight, ground out, then a foul out. kind of odd watching the White Sox play and look out at that shortstop position, and Alexei Ramirez is not there.
No, it's been for years he's been there.
8 years with the White Sox.
Now playing for the San Diego Padres. Speaking of the Padres, they blew a 10-run lead in their game yesterday in Colorado.
Well, lean times. And is back up the middle on one hop. Kinsler. One away. Let's check in now again with Johnny Kane.
Thanks, Mario. Todd Frazier coming to the plate now. Obviously, he's had very little trouble making the transition from the National League to the American League. He's tied with 17 home runs, is tied for the most in all of baseball. When I was talking to him, he said he comes to the ballpark every day understanding that I'm a hitter. And he said, remember when you were in lower ball and you were in college baseball, you didn't have advanced scouting reports like you do now. You just got to commit to the fact that you're a ball player and you can hit no matter who the opposing pitcher is. And obviously he's doing that at a high level. He does say he is a little bit superstitious. If he has a good game or a couple of good days in a row, he'll use the same bar of soap, or he'll take a shower at the same time. But when it comes to undergarments, he said he does change his underwear regularly. So I just wanted to throw that in there. The Todd father
Too much
does
information.
keep it cleaned. What about you, Rod? Any superstitions?
No, not really. I mean, I used to go out and stretch about the same time, and you know, that kind of thing. About the same time I go out and stretch before game, but that's about it.
All right. Keep that fresh bar of soap handy.
That's always a good thing, Johnny Kane.
1 ball, 1 strike on Todd Frazier.
He won
5 homers last year.
He won the home run hitting contest last year in his home ballpark of Cincinnati, and it was one of the most exciting home run contests that I can remember in recent memory. It was unbelievable.
There's a strike on the outer edge. 1-2 the count. Frazier hit a lot of home runs with the Reds, and as we've mentioned, 17 now, which is tied for the big league lead.
Well, he was playing in a very hitter-friendly ballpark when he was playing for the Cincinnati Redlegs, and now he's playing in a very good hitter-friendly ballpark again now on the south side of Chicago.
Frazier last year led the National League in at-bats. He's provided another thumper in the middle of their lineup on the south side of Chicago. Nolan Arenado and Mark Trumbo also have 17 long balls.
Nolan Arenado is top 5 player in our sport. Harper, Trout, Arenado, Machado, young players, good players.
But the guys that you just mentioned there, the Harpers and the Machados, they seem to get more publicity.
Yes, they do.
Nobody really outside of Colorado or maybe National League fans know of Arenado.
He plays on the West Coast. A lot of their games are very late. At least half of their games are very late, where the East Coast writers don't get a chance to see him that often, so therefore they don't write that much about Arenado.
1 on, 1 out. Game break time now. Mickey York. All right, Mick, thank you. Here it is 3-1. Tigers have the lead, but now Abreu steps in with a man on, a man out.
Once the weather has warmed up, and since the weather has warmed up, man, balls are flying out of ballparks all across the country.
And you would imagine the home runs will start coming for this guy right here, Abreu. He has only 6 so far this year, but he's been a 30-homer, 100 RBI guy each of his first 2 years.
He's only the second player in the history of our sport to do that. 30 homers, 100 RBIs in his first 2 major league seasons.
Albert, the other. Pujols. Just saw him on the West Coast with the Angels. Here's the 0-1. Get back out of play 0-2 on Jose Abreu.
That's a good pitch. A good firm fastball upstairs. Abreu's a pretty good hitter with 2 strikes. He will hit the ball the other way. He's got 1 hit today. He sliced that one between Kinsler and Miggy his last time up.
.299 lifetime versus Tigers pitching with 7 home runs. Here's the 0-2. This is his first year, I believe, a couple of years ago here in Detroit. He hit a couple over that center field wall, and we both said, uh-oh.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Huh. This guy's no joke.
And I love the way that he just puts the bat down and runs the bases when he hits a home run like he's done it before.
Ten years professionally in Cuba before he signed with the White Sox prior to the 2014 season. McCann smothers it.
That's a nice job there by McCann, making sure that Frazier on first base could not get down to second, which means that double play is still in order here. And catchers really aren't trying to catch the ball. They're just trying to get the glove in front of the baseball and then shuffle it right in front of them, only a feet away from them, so they can go pick it up and throw it if they need to. They're not trying to catch it, just trying to keep it in front of them.
Now the 1-2. Tigers had 3 runs, 6 hits. The White Sox a run on 4 hits.
Here's our high-speed pitch, and it is brought to you by Xfinity. In 94 in top fastball thrown so far. And for Zimmerman, he's done it a couple of times. He's gone as low as 77 with one of his curveballs. He's thrown 86 pitches.
Hammered to the gap in right center field. That looks like trouble. It's down up against the wall. That'll get a run in. Abreu is on his way to second base. He is in with an RBI double, and Chicago back to within 1.
It is only the second RBI in the last couple of weeks for Abreu. He has not been driving in many, but he's a very good hitter with 2 strikes. Now here's the pitch by pitch. It would be Bell Tire. He gets ahead of him with the first pitch fastball. And about right now, Abreu knows exactly what Zimmerman's trying to do. Fastball after fastball. Nice job taking the breaking ball before finally getting another fastball at 91 miles an hour, maybe a couple of inches off the plate, and which split the gap for a double and a ribby.
Frazier scores standing up, and it's RBI number 29 for Abreu. Now the tying run standing at second base with 1 out. Here's J.B. Shuck. Shuck sends a ground ball up the middle. Iglesias sprawling play, and he throws him out.
Man, did you see how quickly he got to his feet? Real quick feet, very athletic. He slides and he turns and he gets up and fires a strike to Miguel Cabrera. He's one of the best at really not even looking where he's going to throw the baseball before he releases it, and still very accurate with his throws.
So with 2 outs, a runner at third base, Brett Lawrie due up. Here comes Brad Ausmus. Now Wilson warming up at the Tigers pen, and that was quickly a temperature check there for Brad.
Well, Brad said there would be no restrictions tonight and with Zimmerman, but apparently he wants to keep him under 100 pitches. He's been pitching very well, but yet he has someone getting hot in the bullpen.
So here is Lawrie. Single, reaching out a fielder's choice as well. He's 1 for 2. Tying run standing at third with 2 outs. Lawrie came in hot, 320 over his last 6 games. White Sox in search of the 2-out RBI hit. And it's low, 2-0.
Maybe that's the message that Brad had for Jordan. He's been hot, and stay away from him. You got a base open. Even though Jimmy Rollins in the on-deck circle bats left-handed, Lawrie's the guy that's been doing some damage.
That was the 90th pitch for Zimmerman. The 2-0 is low, 3-0. There's Rollins waiting on deck.
Man, did he have some good years in Philadelphia.
Great years.
Playing alongside Chase Utley. There was a time when that shortstop double play combination, shortstop second base double combination, was one of the best in the big leagues.
And he walked him, so Laurie gets a base on balls. That'll put runners at first and third, and Rollins coming up, and that's going to be it. Brad will make a change here. So Zimmerman will not last into the 100 plateau. He'll be taken out of the game. It's a wall side windows pitching change. And the Tigers go to the bullpen. Alex Wilson will be coming in. We'll be back. Baseball returns with a game you can see on FS1 when the Rays take on the Twins at 3:30 Eastern. Then it's Baseball Night in America. The Yankees battle the Orioles for position. The American League East, that's a 7 o'clock Eastern start on the local Fox station, or you can watch it live on Fox Sports Go. The new pitcher now for the Tigers is right-hander Alex Wilson.
In 19 games so far this year for Wilson, a .549 earned run average, 15 strikeouts and 5 walks. He's also inherited 12 base runners this year, and 6 of those have scored. So very important for him with 2 outs to make sure the 2 that are out there right now stay stranded.
Rollins a strikeout and a pop-up. We'll fight that one off 0-1. Jimmy Rollins one year hit 20 triples and 30 homers for the Phillies.
That must have been his MVP season.
Actually, yeah, it was. And he hit 296 that year. And oh, by the way, he stole quite a few as well.
The year I went to go watch him play, I went to go see guys like Eric Chavez play that year, Eric Munson play that year, Travis Lee play that year, Robert Fick play that year. And Jimmy Rollins, of all the guys that I went to go see, I came away as impressed with him as I was with all those other players. I mean, what he did in the game that day that I saw him. And then when I went back up to San Francisco and we worked him out, you know, he hit from both sides, he ran, he took ground balls. I moved him up on my list close to the top.
Really? He'll slice that one back out of play. Well, I mean, based on his career, you're absolutely right. I mean, this guy spent 15 years with the Phillies.
He was going to Arizona State on a full ride scholarship. but chose to sign with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Rollins now 37 years old.
Encinal High School in the Bay Area.
Look out, that'll roll foul back toward the dugout. 3-2, the runners on the bases, the responsibility of the Tigers starter Zimmerman. The Tiger bullpen has not been nearly as good since the month of April. They were really good first month of the year, but May was not quite as good. Hopefully on an upswing in the month of June. Abreu with an RBI double here in the 6th to make it 3-2. He is standing at third and Brett Laurie at first. That was a pitch that Rollins chased in his last at bat, but he laid off that time. 2-2 the count. Waiting on deck is Garcia. High again, 3-2.
Those last two fastballs thrown by Wilson, I love the idea, but he has thrown both of those way too high. So high that Rollins didn't even offer at him. When you throw the elevated fastball, you want the hitter to at least think about swinging.
And he got him, strike 3 in the outside corner. Alex Wilson strikes out Jimmy Rollins with 2 men on. And the White Sox have to settle for 1 run. Is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. There's the blimp high above Comerica Park, circling to give us great aerial views tonight. Well, the White Sox get a run back. It's now 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Victor Martinez starting things off for the Tigers. Victor and then JD and Justin Upton.
Victor 2 for 2 against Rodon with a double down the left field line and a home run the opposite way.
.344 batting average now with his 2 hits tonight. He came into this ball game trailing only Xander Bogaerts in the average column in the American League.
Xander Bogaerts is having a sensational season, and he really had a good year last year. Did Bogaerts.
Here's our favorite spot.
They got a lot of snacks up there too.
Yeah, they do. Did not go. 2 balls, 1 strike.
They got it all down there. Some Little Caesars Pizza.
Oh yeah.
That's what we did a game. We got to go back out there again, man.
Yep, we didn't have Little Caesars when we were there.
We'll make sure we get it next time.
Popped up, shallow right field, long run. Eaton will get there in foul ground for the out. 1 away in the Tigers' 6th. Another spectacular night here in the Motor City. Great night for baseball. It's a nice crowd on hand here tonight as we come to you from Comerica Park. Mario and Pemba, Rod Allen, glad you are with us here tonight. So is Mark Isofano, our producer, Brian Moss, our director. Here is J.D. Martinez. Meanwhile, Rodon now has retired 9 straight Tigers. Strikeout, ground out for J.D. A little bit low and away, 2-0. I mentioned Martinez batting in the 5 slot in this game tonight because Castellanos is getting the night off, but it's something Brad said that it's strictly because of Nick getting the night off. The lineup shuffle tonight probably is not something that he will stay with long term. Now it's 3-0.
And Brad said he was looking for opportunities to get Castellanos off his feet for a day, but every time that he would think about it, Castellanos would get 2 hits the night before, so he just was a little reluctant in replacing Castellanos in the lineup, especially the way the team was struggling from an offensive standpoint on the West Coast trip.
Well, join us again tomorrow. The Tigers continue this battle against the White Sox. All our coverage begins with Tigers Live at 3 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Tigers White Sox tomorrow at 3 right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Strike 1 to Justin Upton.
Might be a little tough to see tomorrow. Chris Sale is going to be on the mound for the Chicago White Sox, and he throws from an arm slot. He's got tremendous velocity with his fastball. There's bound to be some shadows over the field. It'll be a tough night for both teams.
I was about to say, well, one of the things you don't want to do when you face Sale is in a 4 o'clock game. Runner going, bouncing throw, not in time, stolen base. How about JD on the move there?
Yeah, I don't know if that was a missed hit and run or if that was a straight steal. Normally, J.D. Martinez does not get a straight steal, but therefore, if it was, he did guess correctly, and he was able to steal that bag successfully. He also picked the perfect pitch to run on. It was a changeup. It's a nice job there receiving the ball by the second baseman, Laurie, straddling the bag, letting the ball travel all the way to second base.
Robin Ventura thought about challenging, said no thanks.
First stolen base of the season for Martinez.
Upton had an infield single back in the 2nd. He also flied out in the 3rd. Fly ball right field, not deep. Eaton coming in. Runner tags but holds. 2 gone.
I was talking to Dave Clark, and third base coach, before the game tonight, and I was asking him who had good arms in the outfield. He said Garcia in left field has a right fielder's arm, which means it's a very strong arm. And the right fielder, Eaton, also has a very good arm. Eaton already has 7 assists. Center fielder Shuck, he said his arm is just average. Those are all the things the third base coach needs to know coming into a series, whether to send a guy home or not.
Here is Mike Aviles. You know what I love about Dave Clark is his positioning. I mean, he's almost shaking hands with the hitter. He's getting such a good look at third base.
That gives him the best look at all the fielders. Ball hit to the outfield. It gives him an opportunity where he's at to make that last second decision.
Here's the 1-0. That'll get away. And it'll move the runner up. Avila unable to stop it. So advance Martinez to third.
And Dave had to get out of the way. Remember a few years ago when they were talking about the third baseman had to stay in the box?
Yeah, that's just a rumor now.
They don't even talk about that anymore.
He's not even close.
I remember Larry Bowa. He was coaching third base for the Dodgers, and they tried to tell him to get into that third base little box.
How'd that go?
And he blew a gasket.
Here's the 2-0. High 3-0 on Aviles. Larry Bowa blew a gasket?
He blew a serious gasket.
I don't believe you.
He went off.
The count on Aviles. He has hit a couple of ground balls in this game. He's taken all the way. It's a strike. 3-2. Tigers have the lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th. McCann waiting on deck. And he walked him. Aviles is on. Second walk in the inning. Don Cooper coming out as Rodon heads toward 100. He's at 94 pitches. Hey, follow Tigers baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. 3 walks for Rodon. There's nobody warming up right now in the bullpen for the White Sox.
He basically pitched around Aviles there to get to James McCann. McCann has already homered against Rodon in the game today, and he struck him out once.
The home run was hit back in the second solo shot. Tigers would like to break it open a little bit here. Their lead is a slim 1-run edge. Strike 1. They got some action now. Canely warming up, the right-hander. McCann takes inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rodon this year has gone at least 100 pitches in all but 3 starts. And he's gaining on it now. He's 3 away. With Tommy Canely heating up. Tigers 1 for 3 in this game with runners in scoring position. Here's the 1-2. Sox bullpen, although overused early on in the season, does have 13 straight scoreless innings over the last 3 games. They're trying to get Rodon through 6 innings here. Foul back out of play.
It's the best fastball he's thrown tonight. He reached back to get 98 there.
And he's about to throw his 100th pitch. That White Sox bullpen on Wednesday in the extra inning game against the Mets had to throw 8 innings, and they gave up no runs. They really came up big in that victory.
They outlasted DeGrom in that game. DeGrom started that Wednesday afternoon game against Chicago.
Outside, 2-2 on McCann. A 27 pitch first, and just about every other inning is in line. Two and 2 on James McCann. Popped in the air, shallow center field. Is anybody going to get there? A sliding try, and it drops out of the glove of Shuck. Here comes Aviles around. He's out at home plate. The Tigers will get 1 run, but Aviles thrown out at home. A looping single to center field for McCann. Martinez able to score on the play. And Shuck almost made a sliding catch out at center. So the Tigers get another run. Now lead by 2.
A long time, Shuck in center field came in and must have broke back initially. He got there, he left his feet, the ball went in the glove, and then once the glove made contact with the grass, it came out, and then that allowed one of the runners to score, and then you've got Avila being thrown out at home plate. Excuse me, that was Aviles thrown out at home plate.
You know, we say over and over how this is a game of inches. How about that? That ball was actually in the glove. And once it hit the ground, it popped straight out. So the Tigers settled for 1. But it's a big run. They lead 4-2 now. Here's Garcia. He will look at a strike as the 7th inning is underway. Base hit, RBI, and the putout goes 4-2. Brett Laurie, the second baseman, ran over there, picked it up, and threw him out. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
Really good breaking ball there thrown by Wilson. That's the pitch that he's been working on. That's the pitch that has been getting hit. That slider. It's been flat. It's been staying up in the strike zone. Look at him pull this one down. Outstanding action on that pitch. Going right back to it.
Garcia, Avila, and Eaton here in the 7th inning for Chicago. Wilson came on in the 6th inning when Zimmerman left. Jordan left with runners at first and third, and the right-hander Wilson struck out Rollins to win that threat. Ground ball to third as Avila's plays the hop. Garcia's out, one gone. Here is the Chevy Silverado most dependable player, Jordan Zimmerman, in his first 9 career starts with the Tigers. Here in 2016, 7 victories in his first 9 starts. Old Vern Kennedy had 8 back in 1938.
You remember old Vern, don't you?
I remember Vern. Not really. I do remember the Bird, though.
How about Doyle Alexander?
Yeah.
That was after the John Smoltz trade. He came over at the halfway point that season.
And the Gambler in 06, Kenny Rogers. And right now Zimmerman is in line if the Tigers hold on to win this game.
06 was just a good year because the Tigers really weren't expected to do what they did. And the year was just a fun year.
Now they came out of nowhere, and I think as that season wore on, people thought they were kind of a cute story in June and July, and then August rolled around and they were still in it. September rolled around.
I loved what Jim Leland did that offseason. After he had been named the manager, after they let Trammell go, he sent a letter out to all the players, and he told the players that you guys don't play with much swagger. You guys need to start taking the field like the New York Yankees take the field. You need to start taking the field like you expect to win instead of expecting to lose. And they got hot in spring training and played well, and they were able to carry that through the remainder of the season. They did struggle down the stretch, but it was a really good year.
2 balls, 1 strike on Alex Avila. Avila crowd out strikeout in this ball game.
It was popping a lot of bottles while Jim Leland was here.
Yeah, they sure were.
Weren't they? End of the year, it is popping some bottles, and every year.
Even in Brad's first year, too. Here's the 2-1. That's driven to the gap in right center field. It's going to get down. Extra bases. That's going to go all the way to the wall. Avila is on his way to second. He will stop with a 1-out double.
I told you that Alex really likes the ball down. And here's an off-speed pitch that gets a little bit too much played, and it's right down in that happy zone of Avila. And just a really good swing. Head down, good balance.
And so now the tying run will come to the plate. Avila has his 4th double. The White Sox had their 6th hit.
If you're Upton in left field, more than likely Eaton's going to be hitting something your way.
A little bit outside, 1-0. 0 for 3 for the White Sox leadoff man. Slapped out of play down the left field line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eaton last year batted .287. High fives. A souvenir. One and 2 the count on Eaton. Eaton, with his speed, has beat out quite a few infield hits, 15 of them, which leads the American League. Two balls, two strikes. Things are quiet right now in the Tigers bullpen. Wilson came on to strike out Rollins in the 6th inning, trying to pitch through the 7th. Checked it and blocked at home plate by McCann. Now 3-2. Now there's some action in the Tigers bullpen. Bobby Parnell, the right-hander, warming up. Three and two on Adam Eaton with a runner at second and one out. And he walked him. Man, was that close. So a base on balls will put two men on. They'll bring up Saladino. It's also going to bring McCann out to the mound. Parnell just got up in the bullpen, trying to buy a little time here, and now Justin Wilson, the left-hander, has also joined Bobby Parnell. Saladino is 0 for 3, a couple of ground balls, and now here comes Rich Doobie to further buy a little bit more time.
How's that 30-second clock working for you?
Have you noticed any difference with that 30-second clock? I mean, I don't know that most visits took a whole lot longer than that. We're down to 10 seconds.
Umpire starts to stroll out there once it gets to about 10. And then once it gets to about 2, the Doobie will take off.
He's still out there, and it has hit 0, so apparently there's no penalty. It's just kind of a loose suggestion. Brad on the phone with the bullpen. So here is Saladino.
They probably will allow him to face Saladino, but they will not allow him to face Frazier or Abreu. That would be Alex Wilson.
No balls, one strike.
Ground ball here would be lovely.
Well, Saladino has hit a couple of them already tonight. Avila at second with a double, a walk to Eaton. Bouncing ball to short. There's your 6-4-3 double play.
What a beautiful thing.
And that will end the inning and the threat. Boy, Wilson needed that. No runs, one hit, one left. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch.
ask and you shall receive off the bat of Saladino. A 3-hopper to Iglesias. He flips it to Kinsler, and they turn an easy double play to get themselves out of the 7th inning. Alex liked it. Wilson, that is.
So it remains a 2-run game. Just in the nick of time, pitcher's best friend, the old double play. 4-2 ball game. A new pitcher now is come on for the White Sox in a wall-side windows pitching change. Tommy Kahnle.
And Kahnle, good numbers. 2.70 earned run average. 1 strikeout. He has walked 4. He's only been in 4 games.
It'll be Iglesias to lead it off here in the bottom of the 7th. Tigers lead by 2. Kahnle delivers a strike to Iglesias.
Kahnle has a big arm. His fastball gets up to 98 miles an hour. He also has a slider. He will throw an occasional changeup, but not very often. He works on the third base side of the rubber.
Spins one up there for a strike. Kahnle, a native of Latham, New York, out of the Rockies organization, traded to the White Sox in November last offseason. There's a ground ball right to first, knocked down by Abreu. 1 out. Iglesias made a bid the other way. Here's Kinsler. Single and 3 at bats for Ian, plus an RBI. Ian now sits safely in 5 consecutive games. Couldn't hold up. 0-1. Kahnle now is in his 4th stint with the White Sox. Was called up prior to tonight's game from their AAA team in Charlotte. The Charlotte Knights. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. That'll bend inside. 2-1 on Kinsler.
And Kinsler will be looking for that fastball that's in the upper 90s. Ian has always been an outstanding fastball hitter. Looks like they're going with a breaking ball. Sure did.
3-1. Cameron Maben waiting on deck. Mentioned that Kinsler had that pinch hit double in last night's ball game. Had no idea that was his first ever hit in a pinch hit.
He did not know.
Man, that's a long career he's had.
These guys remember everything.
The 3-1. And it's high, ball 4. Tigers have a man on. For Cameron Maben. Cameron is 0 for 3.
Cameron has not had many offers since putting the Tiger uniform on again. 393 overall batting average for Maben.
Frazier tight at third base, creeping in on the infield grass, guarding against the speed of Maben.
Cameron has probably attempted to bunt a couple of times since he's come off the disabled list, but not known for bunting very often. It's a good hit and run count. Brad wants to do something like that.
Fouled away, 1 ball and 1 strike. What makes a good hit and run count?
1-0, 2-1. Your really risky managers, they'll put a hit and run on when the count is sometimes 0-1 when the hitter's behind in the count, because more than likely the opposing manager will not pitch out in that situation. And Jim Leland used to love to put the hit and run on in a 1-1 count. Right. So there's several counts to do it in. Some a little bit more predictable than others. Canely kind of slow to the plate, so if Ian's thinking about stealing a bag, he probably could do so. Not quite sure what the Avila numbers are throwing down to second base this year, but in the past he's been very good.
Fouled away again. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Maben.
Cam a little tardy on that 96-mile-per-hour cheddar.
Canely had a couple of years in the big leagues with the Rockies prior to the trade last year and in 2014 as well. His ERA out of the bullpen was in the 4s, which I guess for Coors Field is
That's good.
pretty good. And another toss, sending Kinsler back. 4-2 is our score. The Tigers have the lead. Wilson good to go. He's been throwing in the Tigers bullpen. Avila's numbers behind the dish so far this year, 1 for 11 for Avila. Runner goes. The 1-2 is a bouncing ball right side of the infield. Gonna have to hurry, not in time. And Kinsler goes to third. Oh, what a heads-up play by Ian.
Laurie, the second baseman, was going over to cover the bag because Ian was on the move, and then he had to redirect and get over to make a play. And then once he threw the ball to first base, Ian, after sliding, he got up and was able to hustle over to third base. I thought he slid, but he never slid when he got to second. My bad.
Well, the Tigers now have runners at first and third, only 1 out for Miguel Cabrera. Infield hit for Cameron Maben. That is the 8th hit of the night for the Tigers.
Outstanding base running instincts by Ian Kinsler. Alex Avila had to tell Abreu, the first baseman, to hold on Maben. You don't want him stealing second base. They want to make sure they keep their double play in order. And Miggy's trying to hit something deep enough in the outfield. Sacrifice fly variety to play Kinsler.
Way inside, got away from Avila, but not far enough.
A slider that backed up on Canely. Actually, that was a changeup, looked like. That's a really dangerous pitch to Miguel.
Miguel tonight with a walk, a strikeout, a pop-up. Infield and double played out. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. into the bullpen, and that is the left-hander Matt Berkey warming up.
They got a ton of left-handers. They got 3 in their rotation. They got several in the bullpen.
Here's the 1-1. 2-1 now at Cabrera. Victor Martinez waiting on deck.
Alex Avila in the offseason in Florida, he and Miguel Cabrera, JD Martinez, they would hit every day in the offseason down in Miami. He knows how dangerous Miguel can be in these situations.
Four runs on 8 hits for the Tigers. 2 runs, 6 hits for the White Sox. Here's the 2-1. Driven to right field, a base hit. That'll score a run. Kinsler is in. Maven will go to second and stop there. And it's 5-2 Tigers.
4 hits for Miguel Cabrera the last couple of days. He had 3 in last night's contest against the New York Yankees, and he drove the ball the opposite way, and he does it once again here. Here's our pitch by pitch. First pitch change up upstairs, then a fastball that Miggy swings right through. Then Avila goes out to visit and has a conversation with Cantley, and then Cantley promptly throws one right down the middle that Miguel takes a really nice direction with the bat. Solid single to right field. All set up by the heads-up base running by Ian Kinsler.
Still only 1 out in the inning as Victor Martinez stands in. Kinsler scores his 45th run of the year. Now Victor, who has a double and a homer in this game, both against the starter Rodon. Slap foul, back out of play, 0-1. Victor's home run was his 9th of the year. Tigers pretty good job tonight with men in scoring position, 3 for 5.
They've had some good at-bats, whether it be against Rodon, who started the game, the left-hander. Now Cantley, they've had some nice appearances against him. Victor splits this year. They're hitting nearly 100 points higher, batting left-handed and then right-handed. Last year it was the opposite of that. He did most of his damage batting right-handed because he really couldn't swing the bat left-handed last year because of that back knee.
Sail outside. 2 balls, 1 strike on Martinez.
Cantley is going to find out very quickly that you cannot live at this level in 2-1 counts and try to throw fastballs by these hitters, even though he does throw 97 miles an hour. Victor will be looking to turn on one of those heaters right here.
JD Martinez on deck. So we fell behind Cabrera. Now he's fallen behind Victor Martinez. Way outside, 3-1. Tigers got a run in the 6th and now a run here in the 7th. It was a 3-2 ball game, but they've extended it to 5-2. Here's the 3-1. And Victor had a rip there.
He did.
3-2. Kinsler walked to get it started, went to third on the infield single by Maben, and then scored with ease on the hit by Cabrera. The 3-2. Drilled to center field and a base hit. Maben coming to third. They're going to send him home. He'll score. It's an RBI hit for Victor Martinez. Third hit of the night for Victor.
And Victor didn't hit it very hard. It's a fastball that's right around the belt buckle. He hits right around the label, but strong enough to muscle the ball in the center field for another hit and an RBI. And Victor now a triple shy of the cycle.
Maybe not sure if would get through, but he still scored with ease. 33rd RBI of the year for Victor Martinez. (6-2). The Tigers have the lead. That'll bring up JD Martinez. So after Iglesias grounded out to start the inning, it goes walk, single, single, single. And now JD, who has a walk, steal, and a run scored.
They've had a couple of bloops. Now they need a blast.
Strike one right at the belt of Martinez, who thought it was a touch high. And he's letting John Tumpain know about it. Or maybe inside. Looked a bit off the plate.
Not a good pitch to swing at if you're a hitter.
Fouled away 0-2. Tigers now have an even 10 hits. They had 11 in last night's loss to the Yankees. The 0-2. Canely replaced Rodon, and already here in the 7th he has thrown 25 pitches. It has been a struggle, and it all started with a walk to Kinsler. Another one back out of play. Don't know if Victor will get another at bat, but if he does, he'll have a chance to go for the cycle. He would need the triple. What do you think, Brad?
What are those odds?
Well, now he's had 3 career triples.
When was the last?
2010. About 6 years ago. Hey, anything can happen.
You're right. You're right.
And again, the 0-2. And it'll get back out of play again. So the battle continues between Martinez and Canely. 6-2. Tigers have the lead here in the 7th. They've added 2 more against the White Sox bullpen. And this is a Sox pen that had come in having pitched 13 straight scoreless innings over the last 3 games. Ground ball left side, base hit. They will hold Cabrera at third base, and now they're loaded up.
Keep the line moving.
Still only 1 out. And looks like Canely will get 1 more hitter. It'll be Justin Upton. He is 1 for 3 with an infield single, .293 career with the bases loaded. Upton looks at a ball high. The next pitch that Canely throws will be his 30th of the inning.
Takes a long time in between pitches, too.
Yeah. Very slow pace.
Rafael Betancourt pace.
Ooh, that slow?
Seems like it.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. 1-1. I'm not sure in the history of baseball there was ever anybody slower than Rafael Betancourt.
He was deliberate.
And now time is called. What's going on here as Kevin Rand comes out, and Miguel Cabrera on that last single was gingerly running to third base, and he's got something going on here.
Looks like he's coming out of the game. He is coming out of the game.
So Romine is going to come in a pinch run. Cabrera coming out of the contest.
Here's on the base hit by JD Martinez, and you can see Miguel is just limping over to third base. I don't know what happened prior to this, but obviously something was going on, and they finally just decided that it was best to get him out of the game.
Initially, I thought, well, he's not running hard because he's probably not going to score on the base hit to left field.
That's what I thought, too.
But you can tell something was wrong. Here's the 1-1. Oh, man, that one nailed Avila.
That rung his bell.
Oh.
Avila took a lot of those type shots when he was here catching for us. 96 fouled off, and it really did not change directions right off the side of the left side of the head.
Some things never change.
He started using that mask last year here. That mask that he's using now.
1-2 on Upton. Pop-up foul back out of play. Just one of Cabrera's at bats. There was a wince there after that swing and miss. Another little wince as he was running up the line at first base on his base hit to knock in a run. But he didn't even have to be persuaded to leave the game. He just simply walked off the bag and walked into the dugout.
Yeah, he must have been having a conversation with Dave Clark, and Dave Clark must have told Brad and to come out and check on Miguel, but Miguel had already decided that he would be coming out of the game.
Two and two on Upton. Tigers have scored 2 runs here in the 7th, looking for more. Ball high, 3-2. He's about to throw his 35th pitch.
This will be his last pitch, and no matter what.
Romine at third. You got Victor Martinez at second, J.D. Martinez at first. Tigers can bust this one wide open with the base hit. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Upton is out of there. I believe the base is loaded. And it's going to bring up Mike Aviles. Well, looks like he's got another hitter.
Yep, looks like it.
Aviles is 0 for 2 with a walk. In there, strike one. Now Aviles has a little bit of a difference of opinion with John Tupain, who shakes his head no. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Aviles.
Took a lot off of his breaking ball that time. Yeah, most of the other breaking balls he had thrown had been anywhere from 87 to 89 miles an hour. That time, just 84. Best one he's thrown since he's been in the game.
In the air, shallow left field. Garcia's on the charge. It's Saladino, the shortstop, who will make the catch. That'll end the inning. They send 8 men to play, scored twice. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Well, the Tigers have a 4-run lead now. They got 2 more in the 7th inning. They're up 6-2 as we go to the top of the 8th. New pitcher now for the Tigers. They have the left-hander in Justin Wilson.
And Justin Wilson with a big arm. Fastball gets up to 97 miles an hour. He has 11 holds already this season, getting the ball to Francisco Rodriguez. The earned run average just continues to inch its way down. It sits at 392, but how about the strikeouts? 29 of those, and he's only walked 4 this year. So,
well, it's going to be Todd Frazier to lead things off. MGM Grand Detroit brings you the scouting report on Frazier. Most home runs by third baseman pre-All-Star break. Frazier has 17. And you got Melton, Ventura, Smith on that list with 20.
the White Sox have been trying to replace Joe Crede for a number of years. Now they finally have a third baseman that they're very fond of.
Frazier, Abreu, and Shuck, 3, 4, 5 in the lineup for the Chicago White Sox.
He's a dead pull hitter.
Chicago tonight just 6 hits. Tigers have 11.
Wonderful crowd here tonight too.
Here's the 1-1. It's an awkward swing. 1 and 2. Get the numbers on the crowd.
They did announce them.
They're coming up momentarily here.
Thought they said maybe 36,000 or something like that. Maybe.
Here's your answer. 31,184.
31. I'll just 5,000 off.
Ball high. 2-2 now on Todd Frazier. Now Wilson with the 2-2 to Frazier. Fouled away. Getting an update on Miguel Cabrera. Will pass it along momentarily. Romine, meanwhile, stays in the game to play first base. Lower back tightness is what they're calling Cabrera's injury. Frazier takes low, 3-2. Alex Wilson went 1 2/3, got a big double play in the 7th with 2 men on. Zimmerman was taken out in the 6th. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Frazier is gone. 1 away.
Here's Miggy in his last at bat against Canely, the right-hander. It's a changeup that's upstairs, and Miggy kind of backs out of the way, and apparently he tweaked his back. And before he steps into the batter's box, you can tell he's stretching his lower back. And let's hope that the big fella's okay tomorrow, because they're going to need him against Chris Sale.
Ooh, no doubt.
And Chris Sale's probably hoping, you know what, one more day, buddy.
Yeah, take your time.
Take your time. Come back on Sunday.
Abreu, the batter.
Although Sale's got some good numbers against Mickey, Victor's the ones that kills him.
Whistled back out of play. 0-2 on Abreu. RBI double drew the White Sox to within 3-2 in the 6th inning. That's when Wilson, Alex that is, came out of the bullpen and got a big strikeout of Rollins in a tight ball game. Tigers then got to Canely for 2 in the 7th. The 0-2.
It's a good pitch, up and in. Not a hard contact. And from where that ball was just thrown. And you're starting to see more and more pitchers in the major leagues exploit that weakness of some of the hitters. Just a hair above the belt buckle inside.
A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shuck waiting on deck. Same 2 teams tomorrow. In fact, the next 2 days, before the Jays come to town. Our first look at Toronto. Here's the 1-2. Ray was being a pest.
And Wilson continues to pump those fastballs in there in the upper 90s.
Abreu came in just 3 for his previous 25, but he's hit Tigers pitching well over the years, and 2 more hits tonight. Over the last 2 years. So they've been around a couple of years in the big leagues. There's a swing and a miss. They finally dispatch him. A couple of strikeouts now for Wilson. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Here's Comerica Park in all of its glory. Fabulous evening here tonight in downtown Detroit. J.B. Shuck will stand in. Shuck is 1 for 3, single run scored. The White Sox actually scored first in this game. They got a run in the second, but that would be their only lead of the night. Ball 1. Mentioned Chris Sale starting tomorrow for the White Sox. That 4 p.m. start, probably not ideal.
No, not at all. Especially the way the sun has been shining. There will be some shadows over the field. This always presents some problems for the hitters. Chris Sale already tough enough to hit.
There's Iglesias. And Shuck is out a 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Summary with the Tigers on top tonight, 6-2. Victor Martinez having himself a night. 3 out of 4, a double and a home run. He needs a triple for the cycle, so we're going to stand by for that. Zimmerman 5 2/3, and McCann 2 out of 3 with a homer tonight. And the White Sox have gone back to the bullpen. James McCann will be starting things off, and it's Matt Perk coming out of the pen, the left-hander.
And Perk 92, 93 with his fastball. He also has a slider that he'll throw about 16% of the time, and a changeup. So he's got fastball, he's got slider, he's got changeup. Some sweet glasses on too.
Yeah, stylish.
This is big leagues.
McCann, homer, single, 2 RBIs. He'll drive this one toward right center field. That thing has extra bases written all over it. Maybe triple. Let's see. McCann is on his way to second. He's going to try for 3. And he is safe safe at third base.
What a slide by James McCann. He didn't even look to Dave Clark to see whether Dave wanted him to come to third or not. He had triple on his mind when that ball was hit into the right center field gap, and he was able to get there.
Leadoff three-bagger for James McCann.
He jumped on that first pitch fastball thrown from Perky.
Here is Iglesias, the infield coming in. Ball one. Any chance he'd give that triple to Victor?
Victor needs it. Victor needs that triple in the worst way.
Give him the cycle. Now Perk with the 1-0 pitch. Ball high, 2-0 on Iglesias.
McCann will not be coming on contact. Tigers already have a 4-run lead here, bottom half of the 8th inning. He's going to make Iglesias do his job. He has to hit something through the infield.
Here's the 2-0. Low 3-0. Perk is out of the Washington organization. He was signed as a free agent in November. Never got to the big leagues with the Nationals. Lifetime ERA of 4.80 in the minors with the Nats. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And it's in there. 3-1 on Iglesias.
Iglesias should get himself another one of those fastballs at 92. Right down the heart of the plate, which would make it easy for him to drive that ball into the outfield deep enough to drive the run in.
Walked him. Perk gives up a triple and now a walk. That'll bring up Ian Kinsler. Five walks now for the Tigers offense tonight. Kinsler, an RBI single and a walk, an RBI and a run scored. Infield still in for the White Sox. Ball one to Ian. So you got Victor Martinez, who is a triple shy of this cycle. McCann now a double short of the cycle. There's a ball that bounces in. 2 balls, no strikes.
Tigers with 12 hits tonight against White Sox pitching.
There's action in the Tigers bullpen. Parnell has been loosening up. Frankie Rodriguez now warming as well. Line foul back out of play. 2-1 on Kinsler. Tigers have led in this game since the 2nd inning when they took a 2-1 lead. McCann homered, Kinsler singled in a run, and they've led ever since. Here's the 2-1. Ground ball left side, base hit. McCann scores. Kinsler with another RBI, and it's 7-2 Tigers.
Here's the 1-800-CALL-SAM call of the game. Ian Kinsler with a bunch of hits, and he's driven in some runs today, but this was the big play here. Laurie had to redirect the body, get back to make a play on Maven, and Kinsler didn't miss a beat. He was running with his head on a swivel. He took one look to the second baseman to see he was going to first base and was able to get to third, and then came home on the Miguel Cabrera base hit.
32 RBIs on the year now for Kinsler. Still nobody out in this inning, and here is Cameron Maven. Ball one. 13 Tigers hits.
Good to see the bats perk up again. They had been slowed down on that West Coast trip.
Every Tiger started with a hit tonight, with the exception of Aviles, and he had a walk. Way outside, 2-0. Tigers have at least one run in each of the last 3 innings.
Perk cannot find an arm slot which would allow him to throw the ball over the plate efficiently. He's thrown 12 pitches, and he has missed the strike zone with 8 of those. And every time he decides to throw a strike, they let him know.
That's in there, 2-1. Romine waiting on deck. He came on a pinch run for Miguel Cabrera, who left with lower back tightness. Three and one. Swing and a miss. Full count now on Cameron Maven. Infield single and a run scored in his last at bat. That was in the 7th inning.
And Tigers with a 5-run lead here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. I don't think the runners will be on the move here on the 3-2 pitch.
Runners hold, and it's ball 4. The first 4 Tigers reach. That's going to load the bases. And Don Cooper's coming out now to have a chat. More balls than strikes for Perk since coming into this game.
Let's take a look at the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. The first pitch that Perk threw here in the 8th inning, he was greeted by McCann, who ripped a triple into the right center field gap. I see you, James. Good to see him get some hits tonight. You knew it was a matter of time.
3-hit game for McCann.
If you're Andrew Romine, you really don't have to take a pitch here. And you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that more than likely Perk's going to try to get ahead of you with the first pitch fastball. So if he lays it in there, go ahead and take a swing at it.
Ball 1. That'd be close.
I mean, but every pitch is missing in the same spot. He's opening up the front side prematurely, which is causing the arm to lag, and because the arm's lagging, he's not releasing the ball out front, which means he's not throwing the ball over the plate. Everything is fading away from the right-handed hitter.
Now the 1-0. High, ball 2. You know who Perk looks like facially?
Who's that?
Jabba Chamberlain with glasses.
Does he? Little Jabba in him?
A little bit. Here's the 2-0. Way inside in the dirt. 3 balls and no strikes with no place to put him and nobody out.
And Mr. Avila's gotten a workout behind the plate today. It started with Rodon and has continued here with Canely and Perk.
Triple by McCann, Iglesias walked, single by Kinsler, Maben walked, and now it's 3-0 on Andrew Romine. Way outside, ball 4. Romine gets an RBI. You're gonna have to go get this guy, don't you think?
Well, on Wednesday, they played, what, 13 innings? But they did have a day off yesterday, so the bullpen should be intact again. But Robin Ventura probably would go get him if the Tigers didn't have a 6-run lead.
Dan Jennings is warming up. Well, here is Victor Martinez. Come on, Victor, triple. Single double homer for Martinez in this game. Here's the strike.
Well, if Victor's going to triple, he's going to have to go somewhere out here, partner. He's going to have to go out here. Yeah. The ball's going to have to nestle somewhere under the fence out there. Yeah. Or maybe in that direction. Might help him out. Maybe the outfielders might have to collide on the right side.
Hey, it's doable.
I'm not hating on Victor. I love Victor.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
He might just hit it out again. He's already homered from the right side of the plate tonight. He has 9 homers. 7 of the homers he's hit left-handed. 2 homers right-handed.
Here's the 1-1. Ooh, man, way outside. 2-1.
23 pitches thrown. And he's only thrown 7 strikes.
He has really struggled. It's getting tough to watch for the White Sox. 8-2. Tigers have the lead. Still nobody out. They've scored 2 more here in the 8th. Now the 2-1. Bouncing ball back up the middle. They're going to get a double play out of this. A run will score. No RBI for Martinez. 9-2 ball game. 6-3 double play. So the Tiger lead is now 7 as Kinsler comes around to score. That'll bring up JD Martinez. He'll drive one off the glove of the second baseman Laurie to score another run.
That is a classic JD Martinez swing. 93-mile-per-hour fastball. He pulls the hands close to the body and hits an absolute missile right at the second baseman, right off of his glove. And look at him pull his hands in nicely on this pitch and just barrels it up. You know what's encouraging about this contest here tonight, partner, is that the Tigers have scored runs in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 6th, the 7th, and now 4 here in the 8th. So they're doing something here this evening that they don't do with regularity, and that's continue to put pressure on the opposing team.
Ball 1 to Justin Upton. Well, they have 14 hits, but that's still 4 shy of the season high for a ball game. Most hits in the game is 18. And that was done against the Twins back on April 29th. Upton had an infield single in his first at bat. Ball 2. 27 pitches now for the left-hander Perk. Last two guys out of their bullpen have thrown almost 60 pitches. Driven to right field on a slice. Eaton on the run. Go to the warning track to pull it in. However, the Tigers send 8 more men to the plate and score 4 times as we go to the 9th. The Tigers go on to win this game, and right now they're in really good shape. They would be 4 behind the first place Royals.
That Cleveland pitching staff finally starting to do some things that a lot of the experts across the country thought they would do last year. You know, they finally got Carrasco back. He hurt himself here at Comerica Park. He pulled a hamstring, but he pitched last night. Salazar pitched tonight. They still have Corey Kluber. They have a really good staff.
Meanwhile, Bobby Parnell will come in to try and close this one down for the Tigers.
And we saw Bobby Parnell last night for the very first time in a Tigers uniform. He basically just pitched to one batter.
Gave up an RBI single in last night's game, and now he faces Brett Lawrie to lead things off. First pitch swinging, pops it up in the air to shallow right field.
Lawrie loves to swing at the first pitch.
Martinez makes the catch for the out. 1 pitch and 1 away, and the Tiger bullpen now is retired 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row.
It's good to see. That bullpen really struggled on the road trip to 6 games out west.
Jimmy Rollins. Had a big at bat when the game was still tight in the 6th inning. It was 3-2. He had 2 men on but struck out. In fact, Alex Wilson came out of the bullpen to strike him out looking. And then the Tigers poured it on. They got 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. One-0 pitch outside, 2-0 Jimmy Rollins. In there, a strike call, 2-1. Parnell last year with the Mets appeared in 30 games. Three and 1. Garcia waiting on deck. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Fouled back, 3-2. Tigers 2 outs away from winning their 26th of the year to pull to within 2 of the 500 mark.
Parnell still has a very good arm. That last fastball thrown by Bobby at 95 miles an hour. Former Mets closer. There was a time when that fastball was up in the upper 90s from Parnell.
Ball high, and he walked him. 1 out based on balls. We check in now with Johnny Kane with the preview of tonight's Tigers Live.
Hey, Mario, hope people are tuned into this. We got a lot to talk about, certainly. We hope to get an update, injury update on Miguel Cabrera. Don't know if we'll get that, other than he'll probably be listed as day-to-day with that lower back tightness. We'll also talk with James McCann and also Victor Martinez. Both those guys coming dangerously close to hitting for the cycle tonight. Certainly we'll talk with the manager, Brad Ausmus, about all things Tigers baseball. Mickey York and Craig Monroe will be holding it down inside this studio, but we got a little bit of work left to be done right here, guys. We'll send it back upstairs.
All right, Johnny, should be some happy reaction tonight out of the Tigers clubhouse. There's a big swing by Avisail Garcia.
And fastball upstairs at 95, right by Garcia.
Parnell back in 2013 saved 22 games for the Mets. CRA was in the low 2s that year. Little chopper slowly toward third. Aviles has it there. Garcia's out by a step to advance the runner. 2 gone. Alex Avila will not bat. Jerry Sands will. He is pinch hitting. So the crowd of better than 31,000 tonight coming to its feet. Tigers need 1 more out. Sands batting for Avila. Ball 1. That's in there, a strike called. 1-1. Sands last year was with the Indians. He's also had time with Tampa and the Dodgers.
He had some good games against the Tigers when he was with the Indians.
Now the 1-1. Little looper into left center field. That's going to drop, base hit to get a run in. Pinch hit RBI single for Sands. That'll make it a 10-3 ball game. And it keeps it going for Adam Eaton. You're looking at a strike, 0-1. Eaton had a walk in his last at bat, otherwise 0 for 3. Way outside.
It's always a good thing if you can shut down the leadoff hitter, especially a good leadoff hitter like Eaton, a guy that came in with an on-base percentage above 350.
Here's the 1-1. So we're down to 1 strike now. 1-2 on Adam Eaton. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball to short should do it. Iglesias on to first, and that's the ball game.
It's a good win tonight for the club. Great offensive night.
Tigers with a runaway win at the end. It was a tight ball game throughout. But the Tigers take game 1 in this 3-game weekend series here at the ballpark. There's your final score, 10-3. Back with more from Comerica.